Hi, and welcome to On Guard Solutions. I'm Dennis Haynes, and today I'm going to talk to you about a purchase I made during Black Friday. I bought a Redfield 64 gun safe from Academy Sports, and I wasn't as happy as I thought I could be with it. Let me show you. So here's a picture of the entire safe so you can get an idea of its size. To me, it's kind of short, but I knew the dimensions. Not too wide. It fits good in the space that I had it for. So the first problem I had with it was the spindle. It's really kind of loose. I thought that I could tighten that up by placing a washer. You can see the washer fits, but when you put the washer in, it doesn't allow the spindle to go all the way on the knob coming out in order to put the screw in. There's a screw underneath here that tightens the spindle to the knob that turns the bolts on the inside. So there's enough room in here for this washer to fit in. And you can see about how wide that is. So that was problem number two. And then if you look at it, when you move it, you can see the safe itself, because it's only 14 gauge steel, or 16 gauge steel, I'm sorry. You can see it's kind of flimsy here. So another issue I had was how dark it was inside. Now my room is pretty light. I mean, you can see the light glaring in, but to see inside the safe was pretty dark, and I think that's kind of tribute to the dark interior that it has. So I'm filming right now without any background lights on, and I had to install my own lights inside so I can see what's going on in the safe. So you can see what some LED strip lights, how that makes a big difference. And I would strongly recommend, you can get those from Home Depot for about $9 to $12. Easy to install, but it makes a big difference in seeing inside the safe. One of the features that I really disliked about the safe was the height of the rifle rack. So the rifle rack sits about this high, and you can see right now I have a rifle in there with a 26-inch barrel. And in order to raise the rack, you have to unbolt it from the brackets here and put the other brackets that aren't bolted in. But when you raise it, in order to allow enough height to slide the barrel in, the rifle rack sits on this centerpiece that is actually attached to the back of the safe. So the centerpiece will be standalone without any support from the top rack, all right, which I guess okay, but I imagine over a period of time, this will start to wiggle because, you hit it with rifles and whatnot. So that was a problem for me, right? And I'll show you the difficulty of getting this particular rifle in and out of the safe. So I'm going to show you how I try to remove this rifle. And keep in mind, if you didn't have the lights in here, it would be pretty dark. So you kind of have to move it to one side. And again, if you have rifles in here, it'll be hard to do. And then tilt it and it'll slide out. But with a full safe, it's very difficult to do that. And then to put it back in, you have to kind of do the same thing to tilt it to get enough angle with the low rack here to put it back in place. So two things. If this was dark and this safe was full, it would be difficult to get a long barrel rifle from the back, right? Now you could put it up front, but I don't want them dictating on where I put my rifles in my safe. I do like the pistol pockets on the door and also the pouches. I left the AR in there so you can see the upright storage of an AR besides the rifle slots within the safe. Those are pretty sturdy. I've had some pistols in there and the pockets are all right. It gives you enough room. Not too bad. When you unpack the safe, you'll find that you'll have a shelf, additional shelf, along with a bag with some screws that enable you to bolt the safe down to the ground. And then you'll also get 10 of these shelf brackets that you can place on the rails. And you can remove the screwed in brackets that are currently holding the rifle rack and use these to hold up your additional shelf or the rifle rack itself. The problem that you have though is if you have a long barreled rifle like I have here, as you can see, you won't be able to use that shelf because the rails that hold the shelf don't give you enough space to place the shelf with a long barrel rifle in there. The only way to use that shelf is that if you have a shorter barrel rifle or rifles with shorter barrels, an AR as such, and then you can place that shelf in there. But then you become limited on the length of rifle that you can use along with using the shelf. So to me, that's kind of a design flaw. Not sure what they was thinking with that one. But, you know, if you only intend to put long barreled rifles in here, hunting rifles and such, then you'll be okay. So I want to show you the interior of the safe and how I set up my lights. They're just LED lights, again, from Home Depot. And you can see how I have them with the motion detectors and the remote control. And I just have them stuck to the side and floor of the safe. As I mentioned before, the rack itself is kind of screwed in, and those can be removed and replaced with the brackets that they give you, so you can adjust the height of the safe. And then toward the back of the safe, the vertical wall that I told you kind of holds the rack in place is screwed in at the top, but again, it's not that sturdy. And the same thing on the other side. Not too bad. I mean, for the money, it's pretty typical. One of the things you have to be concerned with when initially putting your rifles in the safe is to be careful of the safe tipping over. With the door open and the safe empty, you can see that it's real easy to tip over. Now this safe to me tips over quite easily, more so than some of the other safes I've had. With the door closed, it doesn't do that. Of course, there's no weight on the outside, right, bringing it down. What I would recommend when you first load your safe, put something underneath the door to help catch it if it does tip over. Again, the safe's not that heavy. A lot of safes do this, but it's something you need to be cautious of. Well, I hope you got something out of the quick video, me describing the Academy Sports 64 gun safe, the Redfield. Like I said, it's not a bad safe for the money. I paid $6.99 for it during the Black Friday sale. I went back up there to tell them some of the problems I had. It was price raised to $7.99. I did open a warranty claim for it and to replace the spindle. They told me it would be about 2 weeks, and it's been about that now, so I'll have to follow up on that and see what happens. For the money, it's not a bad safe. I just needed someplace extra to store my long guns, and it'll serve its purpose. I wish it was a 12 gauge steel instead of 16 gauge steel, but again, for the money, it served its purpose. Hope you enjoyed the video, and thanks for joining me.